Well, we find ourselves once again, Dermot, to some extent talking about the tone of Prime Minister's questions, because there's been a lot of talk about whether or not the Punch and Judy element of it should be stripped out. We know that Ed Miliband is talking about his view that there should be reforms of PMQs to, if you like, tone it down. And once again today he was, he was trying to exemplify that sort of an approach. But it did rather mean, I felt, that despite the fact he had some quite strong ammunition, particularly on flood statistics, because the head of the UK Statistics Authority has accused the government of being misleading in its use of statistics in effect, his tone rather made it easy for David Cameron to bat back. Let me give you a couple of examples of the way in which Ed Miliband was trying to prosecute his argument, and then I'll take you to David Cameron's response.
Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid that the figures the Prime Minister is quoting are phony, and I believe he knows it. If it's a simple choice between the UK Statistics Authority and him, people will believe the UK Statistics Authority.
I would describe that tone from Ed Miliband as more in sorrow than in anger, and it was not the punchiest approach from his point of view, and that meant that David Cameron was able to consider his response. To come back with statistics, he wasn't backing away from his claims over statistics, which compare 4 years of this Parliament with 4 years of the previous one, but then to make a political point too.
I think having this debate is slightly pointless. The whole country should be coming together to deal with flood defences. And the fact is, from the moment that he turned up in a flooded village with a Labour candidate alongside him, he's completely misjudged the mood of the country.
It wasn't an entirely dissimilar dynamic when it came to the other area that Ed Miliband was pressing on floods, which was on climate change. He knows that there are sections of the Conservative Party in particular that are not comfortable with David Cameron's strong profession of belief in the fact that climate change is a major threat and is likely to have been a factor in weather events such as the floods and storms that we've seen just recently, and he wanted to make that uncomfortable for the PM. This is what he wanted David Cameron to answer.
Will the Prime Minister now clarify, is he happy to have climate change deniers in his government?
But at the beginning of what had been quite a lengthy question from Ed Miliband, he'd said this as well.
Excellent, we're getting somewhere. Well, I agree with what he said about the importance of climate change.
And it was that agreement with the Prime Minister and him saying that it was excellent that they were making progress on the whole area that David Cameron seized upon.
Well, this obviously, Mr. Speaker, is the new approach to Prime Minister's questions. You come to the House of Commons and praise the Prime Minister for his commitment to climate change and the environment. I like the new style. I thought I might miss Punch and Judy. I think this is much more refreshing.
So it was a rather relaxed David Cameron who was managing to breeze through the session in general, and I think that was characteristic of the PMQs, broadly speaking, today. Just one other thing that caught our eye here in the office. Have a look, see if you know what I might be thinking. This is the Tory front bench, obviously. We've got the Labour front bench. We've even got the Speaker. And if you put it all together, you might get what I'm thinking. Everybody seems to be wearing purple. We haven't got the foggiest why that might be. Ramsey, who's behind the camera, suggested it might be some sort of tribute to Prince, who's been on a sojourn in London just recently. Maybe they want some of those tenner tickets that have been on offer, but frankly, haven't got the foggiest.